Hey lovelies! So when it comes to weeknight dinner recipes, at least in my house, they have to be quick, they have to be easy, and they have to be delicious. So today I'm sharing 3 of my new favorite pasta recipes that I think check all of those boxes. I've got this amazing smoky rustic chicken penne, I've got this incredible creamy mushroom and spinach tortellini, and we're going to wrap things up today with my new favorite comfort food, my beefy pasta shells. Guys, there is a lot to love in today's video, so let's jump right in with our rustic chicken penne. Now to get started here, of course, we need to cook our pasta. Like I said, I'm using penne in this recipe, but really any pasta will do. You just wanna get that into some boiling salted water and let it cook away for between, say, 9 to 10 minutes, or according to package directions. While that penne is cooking away, I am going to turn my attention to the chicken in my recipe. So I've got a nice big skillet heating up over medium-high heat on the stove. I'm just going to add a little bit of oil to that. Once your oil is nice and hot, you can go ahead and add your chicken to the pan. Now I'm using boneless, skinless chicken breast in this recipe. I've just cut it into thin strips, but if you wanted to use chicken thighs here, those would be a great alternative. The secret to making this pasta dish extra flavorful is adding a whole lot of seasoning to our chicken. So I've got some smoked paprika headed in here, as well as some Italian seasoning and a heaping helping of salt and pepper. And I'm just going to cook that up, stirring it frequently for about 5 to 6 minutes, or just until that chicken is cooked through. Next, I'm going to remove my chicken from the skillet, add a little bit more oil, and get to work on sauteing some vegetables, which inevitably will become the sauce for this delicious pasta dish. I've got some onion headed in here, and as soon as that onion just starts to soften up, I'm going to add some cherry tomatoes that have been cut in half, and some roasted red peppers. The roasted red peppers in this recipe add a bit of smokiness and a touch of sweetness to it. They're really, really tasty. At this point, things are looking nice and saucy and stewy, and it doesn't take much time. To this, I'm gonna add my garlic and some red chili flakes as well. You can use as many or as few as you like. I really enjoy the heat, so I usually go for it with the red pepper flakes. As soon as that garlic becomes nice and fragrant, I'll add my cooked chicken back into the skillet, and then it's time to transfer my penne into the skillet. So it's fully cooked now, but instead of draining it out in a colander, I'm actually going to use a slotted spoon just to transfer it right into the skillet. Once all of that's been mixed up, I'm going to go ahead and get my baby spinach into the skillet. Of course, you guys know how much I love adding greens to dishes like this. The spinach will just wilt down in no time with a little bit of stirring. And for the final ingredient, I've got a good helping of freshly grated Parmesan headed into this pasta dish as well. Let me tell you guys, this is an absolute winner. Not only is this pasta perfect for weeknight dinner, it also makes amazing leftovers for lunch the next day. If you're looking for the perfect pasta dish for Meatless Monday, look no further than this incredible creamy mushroom and spinach tortellini. It all starts once again with a nice big skillet on the stove over medium-high heat. I'm gonna get some butter into my skillet and let that melt up until it's nice and frothy and foamy. Then it is time to get our mushrooms into the pan. I'm using cremini mushrooms in this recipe, but white button mushrooms or even some portobello mushrooms would work really well here. We're just going to cook those mushrooms for between 5 and 6 minutes, stirring them frequently. You wanna see them release their moisture and get nice and brown. That means it is time to get some flavor into this skillet. I've got a little minced garlic as well as some fresh thyme leaves going in here. We'll give that a good stir, and then the real secret to great flavor in this pasta dish is a good splash of white wine. Now, if you're not into cooking with wine, of course you can leave it out. But what I love about wine is that once the alcohol evaporates, all you're left with is this amazing flavor, and it really does wonders in a pasta dish like this. Once that wine has had a chance to simmer away for say 2 to 3 minutes, we're gonna go ahead and add our mushroom broth into the skillet, as well as a nice helping of cream. If you can't find mushroom broth, vegetable broth will definitely work in this recipe as well. Once that's come to a simmer, I'm going to get my cooked tortellini into the skillet, and then I'm also going to pile in some more of that spinach. If you want to substitute the spinach in this recipe for a little bit of kale instead, that would work just as well. And then we're going to stir in our finishing ingredient, some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. We'll keep mixing that until the Parmesan cheese has melted completely, and we've got a nice, rich, creamy sauce coating those amazing mushrooms and that yummy tortellini. Someone pasta fork, because this dish is ready to be devoured. Finally, lovelies, I have to say, I think I've saved the best for last today. It's my beefy pasta shells, and honestly, guys, It tastes a lot like Hamburger Helper, except so much better. It starts once again with our nice big skillet on the stove. To that, I'm adding a little bit of oil, and once that oil is nice and hot, I'm going to get some ground beef into my pan and cook it until it's no longer pink. Now, if you wanted to use some poultry in this recipe, both chicken or turkey would work really well. Once our beef is fully cooked, I'm going to get some onion into the pan as well as some garlic. And for some seasoning, I'm also going to add some Italian seasoning to this. I'm gonna let those cook up until that onion starts to soften, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And then I'm going to add a little bit of flour to the pan. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because we're looking to create a nice, thick, rich, creamy sauce here, and the flour is really going to help thicken it up. I'm going to let that flour cook for maybe another minute or so before adding my beef broth to the pan and my tomato sauce. This is just jarred tomato sauce I found at my supermarket, nothing fancy. To make this even richer and more delicious, I'm also going to be adding a splash of cream to this. You could swap in some milk if you wanted to keep it a little bit lighter, totally your call. The next step is just to bring this mixture to a boil, and then once it's reached a boil, we're going to reduce our heat to medium-low and let it simmer away for say 8 to 10 minutes. What you'll see is that sauce start to reduce and those flavors will start to become more and more concentrated, which of course is exactly what we want. After 8 to 10 minutes, you can go ahead and stir some shredded cheddar cheese into this mixture. You wanna keep stirring that until the cheddar is completely melted. And then you can add your cooked pasta shells to the dish. You just wanna stir them until they're nicely coated. And this yumminess is ready to hit the table. This one, guys, is so unbelievably yummy and perfect for the kids. Don't believe me? I hope you will give it a try for yourself. Remember, all of these yummy recipes are linked in the description box below so you can find them there. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell because there is lots more dinner deliciousness where this came from.